Hi, welcome to Security Weekly News. This is September 19th, 2025, episode 513, being filmed out of various home studios. And I've got Aaran Leyland with me today. What our talk today is about, oh, good Lord, CrowdStrike, Pangea, AI. I've done a lot of AI stories. CISA, Aerospace LLM, Gemini, Apple BP monitoring, mainframe and AI, and Scattered Spider, along with Threat Labs, the 2025 ransomware report.
This is a Security Weekly production for security professionals by security professionals. Please visit securityweekly.com/subscribe to subscribe to all the shows on our network.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
It's the show that keeps you up to date on the latest security news twice a week. Your trusted source for accurate security information and expert analysis. It's time for the Security Weekly News. Security Weekly and Cyber Risk TV are headed back to one of the biggest identity security events of the year, Octane 2025, put on by Okta. It's live September 24th through the 26th from the vibrant city of Las Vegas. Octane 2025 brings together the best minds in identity, security, and technology innovation. And this year, we're turning up the volume. Security Weekly will be on site in full force with Mandy Logan and Adrian Sanabria leading the charge. Get ready for live-streamed executive interviews, exclusive on-site editorial coverage from SC Media, and brand new this year, a live-streamed episode of Enterprise Security Weekly. It's your chance to engage with identity leaders, dive into the future of AI security, and hang out with your favorite Security Weekly hosts. And here's the best part. Security Weekly listeners get an exclusive discount. Just head to securityweekly.com/octane, register, and use the promo code OKTNSCMA25 to get your conference pass for $200. That's OKTNSCMA25. Ransomware, supply chain attacks, 0 days. Cyber threats don't wait, and neither should your defenses. With ThreatLocker, you're not just reacting to threats, you're stopping them before they start. Our zero trust endpoint protection locks down your environment with pinpoint control over what's allowed to run and what's not. No guesswork, no blind spots, just proactive, built for now security that keeps your business moving. Want to see how a true default deny strategy works? Head over to securityweekly.com/threatlocker and take the first step towards shutting the door on threats before they even knock.
All right. So, welcome back to Security Weekly News. We're going to start off this, and Dr. Doug isn't here today. He's out doing something with a bar and a stripper and a horse. I'm not sure, but apparently he says it's going to be really, really fun, but he may not be able to show us the videos. So, and for his college that he works at, that was totally a joke. There's no stripper involved, just to be clear, okay? Today, we're going to be talking a lot about AI and ransomware and some other cybercrime pieces. We're going to start off with CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike is interesting. They've already got Charlotte AI. Charlotte AI is their security operations AI, where you can ask questions and it'll tell you about the threats, the problems, the issues, the whatevers. They just acquired Pangea. Pangea, I think it's Pangea. That's the old supercontinent thing, because what they're doing is AI security now. So they're trying to extend their CrowdStrike Falcon, doing AI detection and response. So that's EDR, MDR, XDR, AIDR. I don't know how many DRs there are going to be, but dear God, how's that one for one? DR, okay? It's kind of interesting. They're talking about securing data, models, agents, identities, infrastructure, and interactions. So we're starting to see the shakedown of the AI market. We're starting to see it's settling out into, hey, you've got MCP servers, model context protocol, you've got data, you've got models, you've got agents, you've got all those pieces. We're starting to see those sort of standardize and become more familiar to people. And we're starting to see the security around those pieces come out. CrowdStrike may have made a pretty decisive sort of first stab at this, with calling it AIDR and listing out the pieces of the AI platforms that they are actually going after to secure. It's not a stupid thing. Now, will it work? Hey, first generation of anything always sucks. So let's see. But if it does, it's going to be pretty cool for them. In the same vein, I wanted to put an interesting article in here. I found one from Maximus. This is article number 2. And it's talking mostly about the FedGov world, and they're a zero trust place. but it was talking about all the different pieces, like what is model context protocol? Do you know? Because I didn't until I learned about it. Now, mind you, I learned about it a while back, but for somebody, oh, the MCP servers, what the hell is that? This is a great little primer on what the different pieces of AI do. And I really liked it because it was a good type of explanatory article. It talks about NLP. It talks about machine learning. What is an LLM and what do you use it for? So in this case, they're talking about LLMs to simplify SOC processes and incident response. Remember, and I want to sort of add a little context here. The saying that I'm really proud of, I came up with this, so I'll tell everybody that. But the saying is that AI can collate, it can correlate, and it can contextualize, but it can't causate. And that I think is the most important thing. For your SOC, for your Security Operations Center, collation of all the data into one place, huge. How many SOC operatives and SOC analysts have you seen with 70 tabs open trying to find out about that one IP address, right? It takes time, it's tiring, it's a pain in the ass. Let's be honest. So the ability to collate the data, huge. Correlate the data. Well, we've got SIEMs. Yeah, how many mom and pop shops, how many small, less than 50-person shops have a SIEM? Not nearly as many as you would think. Can I use AI as sort of a cheap SIEM? Absolutely, it's possible. Is it easy? Define easy, we'll talk, but it's possible, okay? And contextualize. Can I use the data that I've got, my logs, my systems, my documentation, to contextualize the data off the firewall or off the whatever, the VPN endpoint, the API endpoint? And the answer is yes, if you've got an AI constantly searching your data for anything that can contextualize the data, the new data coming in. And if that's the case, then you've got the ability to collate, correlate, and contextualize. But only a human can sit there and say, hey, this is why this is happening. This is what we should do. This is what's going on. That's a malicious attack. That is a benign issue, whatever. Okay, false positive, etc. And they start talking about model context protocol. I mentioned that a few minutes ago. Model context protocol is the way to get data in. If you've got a database, if you've got an ingester for Splunk, whatever, a model context protocol server acts as the ingester. Actually, I should use that. It acts as the Splunk ingester for that data to pull it over to the LLM. And then it teaches you how to learn, how to teach or learn the AI, using reinforcement learning, and how to interconnect them. So this is a great article for, again, beginners. It's not fantastic for people that are like, I have been doing AI for 20 years and I know everything. But if you're not really sure about some of these things, it's a nice article to sit down, read through and go, that's how that connects. I've got one here that I think will be fascinating for the US people. So, my co-host here, Aaron, won't give a crap about it. But the cyber incident reporting rules, which make you a mandated reporter, they were supposed to start in, I believe, October of 2025. And now it's going to be May of 2026 at the earliest. Okay, what does this mean? If you have a critical infrastructure company and you have an incident, it was going to be that you are mandated to report it within, I believe, 72 hours. So does that make us as network admins, as AI admins, as security admins, as analysts, as whatever, does that make us mandated reporters? That's an interesting question. But either way, we don't have to worry about it until May. Now, this is only for critical infrastructure operators. However, let's be clear. These days, unless you're a design firm or a modeling firm or whatever, pretty much everybody's critical infrastructure. I mean, from the farms and the distributors and the truckers and the transportation's in there, states and all levels of government are in there, financial services, ISAC is in there. If you see an ISAC, Information Sharing and Analysis Center, that is a critical infrastructure sector. There's 16, it was 17, they modified it. It's now 16 critical infrastructure centers. Or verticals. So if you're in one of those, and you have an issue, you have a breach, you have a notification event, the financial services people call it, you were going to be mandated to report it. Now, what's not clear to me, and this is the part I find fascinating, who's mandated? Is it the company that has to pass it through their legal? Or are we as individuals, is Aaran, as a financial services person, mandated to report, if he was in the US, of course, mandated to report within 72 hours. Are you unmandated to report, Aaran? I'm sorry, you're pointing at yourself. I'm kind of curious. You're on mute still. There we go.
Doug doesn't talk to me, Josh, so I muted myself. I'm really sorry. And I also put my microphone away. But yes, we are mandated reporters because we're FCA and SEC.
Really?
And all that because
so as an individual or as a company?
As a company, I don't actually.
So you're not a mandated reporter, your company is?
Yeah.
Okay. Like in the US, for example, in schools, teachers are mandated reporters individually. If they don't report it, even if the school says don't report it. If they don't report it, they can get in trouble. So that's sort of the paradigm I'm looking at here. How is that going to be handled? And I'm not sure that's covered in the legislation, but I think it's probably going to have to go to court at some point for us to figure out which way it's going to go. It's going to be interesting. So that's going to be delayed until May 2026. And it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of significant criticism. It exceeds congressional intent, defines covered entities a lot broader than people thought was appropriate. It's tough. And by the way, anything that exceeds a small business side standard, you're covered. So that's more than 300,000 companies in the US is what they estimate. So if you're one of those 300,000, you may be a mandated reporter. Doesn't that feel good? I know it feels good to me. Then you've got MITRE. MITRE, I love MITRE. They have the MITRE Attack, the MITRE Defend, the MITRE Supply Chain Standard. We've interviewed a lot of people from MITRE on the shows, Paul Security Weekly and Application Security Weekly and all that. They are now building out an aerospace LLM evaluation benchmark along with the FAA. So with MITRE and the FAA, I would assume FAA bringing in the aerospace aspect of it and MITRE bringing in the evaluation and assessment aspect. They're working together to do the aerospace language understanding evaluation. ALU. I don't know. They're guiding the assurance of LLMs tailored to the unique demands of the aerospace domain. So my question is this going to make any LLM that is supporting big metal tubes in flight, is it going to support them being valid, reliable, no hallucinations, and all those different pieces that can make an LLM, crash things? Supposedly, that's what it does. It assesses the performance, but also to make sure that it's not going to make, plane crashes. And we want them not to crash, let's be clear. So we want to make sure that when the LLM goes, hey, it looks like your flaps aren't down. Would you like some help? Because I have perpetually thought of LLMs as clippy. I don't know why, but it perpetually sits in my head that way. That the LLM really does work properly to work with the pilots, to work with the ground crews, to work with the tracking stations, and make sure that everything's going well. Okay. Is that the best way to do it? I think that having a standard to make sure that these LLMs used in aerospace is they're valid, they're reliable, they're not hallucinating. That's not stupid. And it's one of the first to come out. It's not a risk management framework, which is fascinating. It is a framework for assessing the LLM. So it's to make sure that the LLM uses proper data, proper prompts, only accepts proper prompts, etc. But it's an evaluation standard. So that's fantastic. And I think it's going to be interesting. It's an open standard, by the way. You can get it via GitHub. So if you're in aerospace, and by the way, if a total plug here, but Aerospace Village is going to be at B-Sides, Delaware, November 14th and 15th. So if you're in Aerospace Village and you're watching this, you should be downloading that right now. Just letting you know that. Okay. Sorry, I had to plug my own conference. I apologize. And, but I'm not in aerospace, so I don't really need to use AI. Au contraire, you use Chrome and Gemini. Now that Chrome isn't being divested from Google, from the antitrust legislation that was or case that was just out, AI is going to be massively enhanced in Chrome. as in massively. There's not just the Gemini button that's up there. It's going to be watching everything you do. It's going to be assessing everything you do. It's going to make, oh, you want to find that tab? It's over here in your fourth window, 70th from the left. It's not like, Aaron has 75 million tabs open at the same time. He does. But he's giving me a big thumbs up. Yes, I do.
I totally
But-
do. And I've got my mic turned back on again. So I'm sorry if you hear any weird noises.
Aaron, your definition of weird noises may be a little far outside of this audience's well, no, we're all weird.
No, we can do anything we want on this show. Nobody's ever said no. And we used to. And then it got all weirdly PG-13. And I don't know why. Anyway, I'm not going to say any bad words. Sorry.
So no, it's okay. It's okay. The Gemini button is going to be in everybody's Chrome, and it's going to be able to interact with other apps and tabs that leaving the tab you're on. In other words, it can work with the content in all your open tabs. Again, this is collation and correlation. So you can say, hey, where was that page that I was on 3 weeks ago with a vacuum cleaner on it? And it'll find it for you in your history. It'll say, hey, which tab do I have to this site or with this IP address or with this word on the tab? And it'll find the tab I think I have 4 windows with about 50 tabs open each right now. So it's also going to be the default way to search the web. So rather than going to Google or typing into the address bar something for a Google search, it's going to be AI mode searches. So this is going to change things. Is this going to change Google search as a money, as a revenue opportunity for Google? I don't know, but I have to think that sponsored ads and Google AdWords are going to see some significant changes in how they do business and how they work from this massive change. By the way, it's supposed to roll out in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So I don't know if it will. That's just the public press release, but let's see. I think it's going to be interesting. I love this next story. So I know that quite a few people have Apple Watches, and I have one. I use it for the EKG that it gives me. I use it for, obviously time and activity and everything else, but it gets a lot of information from the sensors that are on the watch. Apple looked at all of the information that they get, sort of all the raw data that they get from an Apple Watch, and they took a lot of them and they looked at all the data. They were able to run an AI search through the data and inferred blood pressure. They didn't add a blood pressure cuff to the Apple Watch. They didn't add a sphygmomanometer. God, I got that right, to the watch at all. What they did was they were able to infer from heartbeat, strength of heartbeat, pacing of heart, various other information, if your blood pressure was too high. That is insanely cool. Because of that, they are now advertising that they can tell you if your blood pressure is too high, effectively a blood pressure threshold. I don't know if they can give you your full blood pressure, but I don't have the new Apple Watch yet. But they are able to give you a warning if your blood pressure exceeds a threshold, which means that effectively, hey, calm down or you're going to get a heart attack. Or Aaron's may have broken a torn calf muscle from running after a phone thief. So it's interesting that they're using AI to find inferential data that they didn't even know they had. That's awesome. Scary? Yes. Awesome? Also true. All right. This next story, I know you're going to hate me, but I have to do it. IBM has stated that you too can use Watson to update your mainframe applications. You can vibe code your way out of a mainframe, baby. Yeah. The concept here is literally you hand it your COBOL application. It will read the COBOL. It will generate a Java file, and it will literally refactor your entire COBOL system and all of your applications by itself. There is a Watson X code assistant for Z. So this is the Z series mainframes and HPUXs, I think, things like that, that they will refactor your code for you by letting an AI to do it, optimize the code by letting the AI do it, transform the code by letting the AI do it, and validate the code by letting the AI do it. Now, if you're like me you go, hey, let's test it before we release it. And let's test it in every possible sector and factor and pathway through the code that you possibly can. Except that most of those unit tests were written 40 years ago. And we have to rewrite all the tests, all of the user tests, all of the unit tests. Every bit of testing that you do in your CI/CD pipeline wasn't written for a mainframe. It was written for a standalone, probably a manual test. So now we have to rewrite all the tests and run all the tests and pray to God we didn't miss a pathway that's only used, end of year reconciliation or whatever. And it's an interesting one. I love the idea of updating the mainframes. Okay, that's cool. But I got to tell you something. Mainframes are also useful for AI because they're able to parallel process so many systems at the same time. There's a lot of companies that are actually getting mainframes and using them for AI development. Model baking, basically. If you're baking a new model. This is fascinating stuff. Not saying it's a good way either way, whether it's to take yourself out of the mainframe era by using vibe coding or put your AI in a mainframe. Both of those options scare me a hell of a lot, let's be honest. But, and especially in the financial services world where we have mainframes that have been operating for 50 years, literally. And they have been modernized to a certain extent, but just within the mainframe paradigm. Updating them using vibe coding to go to Java and modern web applications and then trying to secure them, that strikes me as a very, very quick way to spend a lot of money that may not work properly. But you know what? Luckily, I have one of the most awesome AI financial services people co-hosting with me on the show today. He knows more about AI and financial services than most people know about their hand or their back teeth. So let's welcome Aaran Leyland.
Wow, that was like on time. You're like so much better at this than Dr. Doug. We should just get rid of him, right? Will we get rid of him?
No, I'm not
Sam,
doing it.
Where's Sam, Rennie, anyone, Tyson? Can anybody make this happen? I'm joking. We miss you, Doug. I love you. But good show, Josh. And do you know what? Do you know what I really love? That all my friends are smarter than me. It's just so nice.
I think.
Do you want to know some fun fact today? Fun fact. I joined the Royal Air Force 30 years ago today, and I know that comes as a shock to the people watching online.
You're not old enough.
That means I joined at 7 and not 17. Okay, well, I do some cyber. Let's do some cyber. Everybody knows that I love a PDF, and Threat Labs 2025 ransomware analysis was a fun one to break down into 700 words. And I'm starting it off with, let's get real. Ransomware isn't about crypto lockers anymore. It's about leverage. Theft first, pressure second, encryption optional. Anyway, it's actually a good report. And I just love how they make up the numbers. It's like the numbers are just made up. No, they can't be. They're so subjective, though. It's like, why don't they just round numbers up? So the Threat Lab 2025 report makes it plain. Ransomware attempts are up 145.9% year on year. Like, do people not go to school? What's wrong with 146? I won't tell you off. Nobody's coming for you. I know most of us are a bit autistic, but we'll let you round up like to 0.1 of a decimal. Anyway, right. So public extortion cases up 70% and data exfiltration volumes jumped to nearly 93% across top families. It's like, when they say families, I was like, what? Families? Why are ransomware groups families? But which ones of these do you remember? I bet you Josh remembers them all because he's so smart. It makes me look so dumb. But anyway, Ransom Hub, Akira, Clop, or the one that you can't pronounce because it's got like an I and an O in it, or like a 1 and a 0. Whatever. Dragon Force, Dark Angels, Lockbit, Medusa, Quillin, Interlock, Babook 2 because 1 wasn't bad enough. But anyway, look, it's not just background noise. It is, and I spoke about this recently, and I'll cover a little bit of that again because you probably didn't watch me when I was like styling out the whole show. It's industrialized extortion scaling fast while defenders cling on to 2021 playbooks. You know who you are. When was that playbook updated? Look, is it fit for purposely? And more importantly, have you exercised it? Honestly, get exercising them. Right. So Hunters International went full extortion only, stole 122 terabytes, then retired, apparently. Days later, World Leaks spun up, stole 25 terabytes in weeks and used the same kit. It's like, they come up with all these names, but is it just the same people using different infrastructure and VPNs and spun up servers using Target gift cards or something like that? Who knows? So it's continuity of operations. These guys have got their shit in their sock, as they say over here. Do you guys say that? Who knows? If you're still telling the board we've got backups, you've missed the pivot. And if you're not watching online, you missed me do a little dance there as well. Look, the targets, oil and gas saw a 935% spike in ransomware attacks, which is no surprise, is it? Because they have tons of cash and OTs, just the Wild West. Agriculture, 677%. It's like as if farmers don't have enough issues, like they're drowning in soybeans. Are you making your own like soy sauce now? What else do you, soybeans? Is that what makes the tofu? Is that what? Start eating tofu because farmers need you. Okay, healthcare remains a frequent target. Digitized, poorly segmented, and exposed at the OT edge. Attackers exploit this, knowing operational disruption speeds up ransom attacks. It's like the NHS over here. I can't say the exact numbers because someone in the NHS actually told me them. But the NHS over here have thousands of systems that sort of don't really properly talk to each other and stuff. So that's the UK NHS is like getting hacked all the time. Like, and as we know, when healthcare breaks, people die. So it's scary. It's no longer money anymore. So Quillen's hit on Synovus, which paralyzed 7 London hospitals. Surgeries were cancelled, including a kidney transplant for a baby. 400 gigabytes of patient data leaked. Not just downtime. That is just shocking. The British government should just be throwing money at that, a whole digital transformation and sorting that out. So Eleanor Fairford of the NCSC. The NCSC is like the corporate side of GCHQ, which is like your NSA. So it's like, I don't know. They're actually a really good resource. It's just look them up. Look on their website. They do loads of like, I love Josh said mom and pop earlier, like small office, home office. Like if you do know cyber, they'll tell you how to do cyber. So Eleanor says ransomware attacks pose a massive threat. Impacts can be severe and long-lasting, disrupting operations and putting potentially sensitive data at risk. Right. I just love that quote, and I put it in to prove how much I hate AI at the minute, as I asked AI for a current, punchy, and relevant quote from a credible cyber person. Well, definitely a credible cyber person, but I don't know what was punchy about it. So, law enforcement had wins. We talked about this. Operation Endgame took out malware distribution infrastructure. Threat Labs even built a free decryptor for ransomware hubs. But let's not kid ourselves. 34 new ransomware families, love that, emerged this year. Affiliates don't retire, they reband. One Lockbit operator told the victim, we were affiliates of Ransom Hub. Now Ransom Hub is closed. We moved here. It's just labor market, right? These guys are all chatting to each other in the background, moving around, moving infrastructure. Most of it's probably state run, probably like Lazarus Group or something like that in North Korea stealing dollars because nobody else will give them dollars. They'll only give them Russian money, but we don't talk about Russia anymore. Anyway, initial access is evolving to forget blanket spam, crews are running, multi-stage, social engineering, flooding inboxes, Vish is IT. I actually wrote a playbook on this recently, go me. Push quick assist, sideload a DLL off a legit binary, and then walk the victim through pasting JavaScript into Delve tools to steal their M365 tools. Just boring, manual, and devastatingly effective. Not like Josh, but he is devastatingly handsome and effective. And I look at it, oh, Tyson, please shoot to that. It's like, that's the, can we say, I probably can't say the words in my head, but is the dollar shot the same term without actually saying the other one? Anyway, who knows? If you haven't killed consumer RMMs in policy, you're inviting compromise. Look, not just policy, computer policy, or written policy, governance. Anyway, kill them. That's remote monitoring and management tools to friends. Think TeamViewer and its evil friends. And AI, because it's all about the AI. Already in the playbook, of course it is. The Black Pasta chat leak showed operators telling each other, ask ChatGPT the question, he will help you, which is just sexist, all right? But AI does mansplain or people splain. Who's being sexist now? I'm not sexist, but people splain, geeks splain, autistic people splain. Me, I'm explaining. Anyway, they're using it to rewrite scripts, patch gaps in Python skills, and even debug payloads. When you give multi-tier criminals the tools to operate like pros, look, the floor's coming up fast, the bar's lowering, and all them good things. Look, don't think they won't automate data triage, sorting leaks for the juiciest regulatory or investor pain points. That is totally coming. Look, I even know they come in, they crash around for a bit, and they're going to look for your cyber insurance policy, and your cyber insurance policy is going to go $10 million. And then they're just going to turn around and go, I want $10 million. And you're like, I don't have $10 million. And then they'll just send you your insurance certificate. And then you'd be like, oh shit, sorry, poo. Here's your $10 million. Right. North Korea, Lazarus Group. They're probably behind it all. Innovating persistence, their Carolyn rat delivered via fake job offers. Like, I just think people are flooding my inbox with job offers all the time. Totally North Korea. Look, I'd go to North Korea if the money's right. I haven't even got security clearance anymore. I'm there, right? Look, it doesn't run in memory. It chains through loaders hidden in ISO files, uses steganography and PNGs, and drops a rootkit that abused CVE 2024-21338 to flip kernel protections. What is that, Josh? I bet you know. I'll leave it with you. I will put you on the spot. It's like when you asked me the question earlier about FCA, I was like messaging a mate on chat that I hadn't spoke to in years. And I don't know, Josh. Where do I work again? I work in defense. It's like, hey, oh look, my Ukraine flags are like in the background there. It's like, anyway, look, this stuff is really, really serious. It's just like cloud providers, VPNs, MSPs, like Silk Typhoons riding on SaaS. I have a quote here from Edward Snowden, but I'm not going to say it because he doesn't deserve a quote. He doesn't even deserve to be in this show. Right. Stop fetishing backups. I'm rushing through this now, but I wanted to get to that bit because that's for you, Doug. Treat exfiltration as the primary blast. Monitor leaks. Run dark web hunts. Assign legal owners for takedown disclosure. Kill remote assist inbound. IT initiates outbound only. Callback verify. Block quick assist TeamViewer any desk. Your users don't need them. Your attackers do. Right. This is cool. And then I'm going to finish off. Treat MFTs as tier 0. Haha. Tier 0, that's where we start, right? But it's only tier 1, 2, and 3. Where did tier 0 come from? But numbers do start on 0, right? Anyway, look, there we go. I'll leave you with a question. When the law bans payment, attackers know it too. And they're going to. It's happening in government first, and then it's going to filter on. And all of us in the West, they're going to ban payments, and it can't come soon enough. So How much damage can they inflict before your options run out? If you don't have that answer ready, you're already negotiating from your knees, Anyway, back to my good friend pal, Josh. Hi. Why are you not on the beach, Josh? Anyway,
Crazy. I'm
you.
working. I have a job. This magic day job thing I've been doing recently. It's weird. I have a day job with a little company, and it's wonderful. I love it.
If anybody wants to give me and Josh and Doug a job where we can have high impact but low energy and pay us loads of bucks, I'm well into that. Looking at you, North Korea, Iran, Russia, China.
We can talk.
I'm going to get in so much trouble. Anyway, back to you, Josh. Sorry.
Thank you, sir. So for my last article, really, really quickly, it's a fascinating article in Business Week. I got it on Apple News, but if you have Business Week, you can get it too, about one of the scattered spider people. And you've been hearing about scattered spider for weeks. It's a really fantastic article discussing with him what he was doing, how he was doing it, the amount of social engineering that was going on that was not in any way, shape, or form technical hacking was unbelievable about how much money they were moving using nothing more than social engineering. So yeah, phishing tests aren't really good for very much, but it seems like we should really pay some more attention to them. The two or three very big interesting points for me were, one, Allison Nixon was in there, and she is amazing. Allison, I know we haven't talked in a couple of years, but you've been busy. I still remember your wall of DVRs where every 5 minutes they'd reboot, and within 5 minutes, all of them would be taken over by China or somebody. The other thing is that it used to be that these gangs of cryptocurrency thieves and ransomware pushers was in Russia or North Korea or whatever. This is a domestic gang. It had some extraterritorial pieces, but it's a domestic gang. These are kids living in Westchester, Pennsylvania, and in various other places. And it's terrifying that they are all involved in this. And these are 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 15-year-olds that are making thousands of dollars a week doing this and going to jail going, did I do something wrong? They literally don't understand. They've been socialized, counter-socialized to think that this is normal because they're watching it on TikTok and they're watching it on YouTube and they're watching it. It's fascinating, infuriating, and terrifying that there's an entire generation of people that are going to look up to these kids. So on a cultural level, it's a little scary. Anyway, that's the end of the news. This is Security Weekly News, episode 513, here with Aaran Leyland and myself, Josh Marpet. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.